Today I'm going to witness secondhand, and you guys third hand, what it's like to be in the biggest black market in Colombia. Since it's called the Bronx of Colombia, I'm wondering if maybe they have a similar culture to the Bronx in the United States. Do they have similar music? Do they dress like the people in the Bronx, in the United States? Similar music? What is the similarity? Or is it just the black market?
Like snatch and grab type shit. Not really safe to bring a camera, but we're gonna go feel it out, see how it feels. Last time I walked here, basically everybody's eyes are on me immediately, right? The Bronx. People do not like cameras around here. I would not be surprised if there's hostility almost immediately.
Yeah, I wonder if he's gonna get smacked on this video. I didn't get smacked, but I was making a YouTube video with a friend of mine in Peru, and we were doing street interviews. And he went up and interviewed a guy in the park, in the park, and the dude smacked him because of the camera.
Christmas says, if you appreciate the channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, please. Oh, the smell is ferocious.
You cross that street right there,
Yeah.
and the vibe changes. It's the street.
Darkness, the shadows coming, and yeah, it's crazy out here. Anything you can imagine stolen, you'll find here.
I've seen similar street markets like this in Lima, Peru. I've been to a street market in Lima, Peru called Gamarra, and basically there you can get like suits and clothing that would be really expensive in the United States, very cheap. You can get a suit for like $50, tailored. But if you're going to Gamarra, you got to be cautious because they're pickpocketers everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. You don't really have to worry about violence, at least from my experience, but as long as you're out by a certain time, because I noticed around 6, 7 o'clock, the gang members started coming to Gamarra, and that was probably around the time that I bounced. So I'm imagining if you stay there late enough, then you could have problems of violence.
Used to new, and everything in between. What is this used for?
I have no idea. Looks like baby jewelry.
Oh, what a smell. You ever get somebody walk by you that hasn't worn deodorant in like a month? That's what it just smelled like real BO.
Oh, I get that all the time in Crunch and Planet Fitness. Up in Crunch here, it's packed. And when I go to the locker room in Crunch, the entire thing smells like a giant open armpit and some sweaty socks after running 3 miles in the hot sun.
Hola, amigo. This is a lighter. Candela. If I bring this to my country, I go to jail.
Si usted trae eso para su país, para Canadá, lo meten preso.
Tell him, you need this in this
He said, here you won't go to jail. Here you can break anybody's jaw that you want.
neighborhood. Ask him, it's a rough neighborhood.
Aquí se necesita eso para andar por acá.
No, it's no rough. He said, yeah, aquí sí.
Él dice que sí, usted dice que no. Pero acá sí. It depends.
Depends.
Oh, it depends.
Yeah.
What situation you get into.
Tell him, what's the craziest thing you've seen here? I know he has a crazy story.
Te voy a contar una historia, tú me regalas lo que la...
He'll tell you a story and you'll give him whatever you want.
Deal, it's gonna be a good story.
Listo.
Tengo 42 años. Tengo 42 años y llevo 30 acá, en el centro.
Okay, so he says he's 42. He's been working here 30 years.
30 years.
30. Since he was 12.
All right.
Y llevo 30 años acá. Cuando yo llegué muy pelado de 7 años, la droga era mucho más favorable. ¿Sí me entiendes? Y se moría la gente. Pues,
¿Cómo así favorable? ¿Te veía más?
Esa semana mataron un man acá, a macheta.
Are you saying he got here when he was 7? When he was a little kid? He's been working here since he was very young? And he told me last week somebody was murdered here. There was a fight with machetes. Somebody
Oh, he also said back in his time, the drugs were a lot more favorable. He missed that part.
He was murdered with machete.
Right.
Y ayer en el bronce murió otro.
But you saw it happen?
Guys are getting tight.
Yeah. But he saw it happen?
¿Usted lo vio?
Sí, claro. ¿Cuánto no he visto? Si tocaba pasarle así por encima para poder comprar la traba.
Yeah, he said he's had to walk over dead bodies around here.
Yeah. That's normal.
Es normal.
No, no, ya
Damn, that's crazy. Walking around dead bodies.
no es normal porque ya
It's not normal
estamos
anymore.
bien. ¿Sí me entiendes? Ya cuando te pasa algo así ya es porque ya has cometido muchas faltas.
¿Cómo?
Cuando ya te pasa algo como lo que hemos hablado que es de los 90 y ahora en los 2000
Okay.
y te pasa algo así, es porque ya has cometido demasiadas
He said
faltas.
before it used to be very normal for stuff like that to happen, but nowadays it's not. So it still happens, but it's not like your average everyday occurrence like
Right.
it used to be in the 90s and like early 2000s.
Porque la historia cambió de los 90 cuando llegaron los 2000 acá para adelante. ¿Sí me entiendes? Los 90 eran mucho más violentos, mucho más...
Yeah, in the
It's because people started recording stuff on phones, I imagine.
90s it was much more
Y
dangerous.
ahora
It
en
was more
día
common.
más tranquilos.
It was more common to see murders and violence.
What is this? What is this used for? Look. This used for what?
That's for stoning coke.
For coke.
Yeah, that's good that it slowed down. I'm imagining it's because of the videos, the people recording videos in the street and not being as easy to hide when you do something like what he mentioned, because I'm not trying to get my video blocked or shadow banned. But I think Colombia seems like an interesting place to visit. There's a lot of cool things in Colombia. Something that happens to people when they see these type of videos is that they get scared and they say it's not even worth visiting. I would say that the chances of this stuff happening to you isn't that big, because I spend a long time in Latin America, and it's kind of like if you don't get mixed up in those circles, you don't really run into that many issues. I did have close calls though, so could also just be that I got lucky. I had two close calls. One time I was in a taxi and I was with four other people, but I was the only man in the taxi, so it would have been up to me by myself if things went down. The taxi driver drove into a dead end alley, and there was men waiting at the end of the dead end. There's about four of them. So imagining that the taxi had planned to rob us. That's why he was meeting up with a group of men there. But right as he was driving up there, a police car pulled out behind him. The police car saw him taking the turn, and nothing ever happened. The taxi driver took us to our destination. So that was a first close call. And another one was I was going to a market like this because I needed my computer fixed, and it's the cheapest way to get it done. So I went to a market like that at nighttime, like an idiot, drop off my computer, and then when I'm coming out, there's like, I would say probably a gang from the way they're dressed, and they say, "Oh, look, a foreigner." And then I'm walking, and I see them that they're behind me, so they were following me. Then I'm walking down the street, and I see that they're behind me. They're following me. So what I did was just find a crowd of people and walk in the middle of the crowd of people, pretending like I know them. I just said hi to them and join their conversation, so that way it looks like I'm leaving with a group of friends, and they ended up disappearing. So I guess if I wasn't lucky in those situations, I could have ended up in some trouble. So you can end up in some trouble, I'm not going to lie.